All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. My name is Eric Paulson. Going to be getting into the round 2 picks here for the Genesis Invitational, and also going to be doing a little quick recap of round 1. So round 1 is a very interesting round so far. There's a few golfers finishing up right now, but man, pretty much every golfer that was somewhat, I don't want to say a questionable play, because this week it was very much, there are so many quality plays. It was kind of hard to really rank out the golfers this week, but it was pretty much every golfer that, for one reason or another, you should have ranked higher than like another golfer in their price point range. That golfer did a lot worse than the, I guess, slightly questionable golfer. And it's a weird thing that's going on. I know a lot of people ended up kind of like on DJ a little bit this week over some of the other players. I don't know, like Rory and stuff, and like John Rahm, Patrick Cantlay and whatnot. All these golfers are like just not doing as well as expected, whereas like someone that might have been a little bit more risky is now doing well as well. And also the Matthew Fitzpatrick withdrawal at the start of the day, kind of crazy. I feel like that really did shift the whole dynamic of the slate in general, because you went from, it depends what Russell Henley does. Obviously Taylor Gooch is not looking too good. That's just one of those plays where it's the correct play. If it doesn't work out when a golfer's pretty much checking all the boxes. I mean, the only thing with Taylor Gooch was one miscut at the AMX, which was kind of a weird outlier event. Those are going to happen. Those plays are going to happen. Although a +6, I mean, that's pretty crazy out of a play that ranked out that well, which is kind of weird. Based off of how golfers are doing right now in first round too, it's the correct play. It's just not working out. That happens. But, besides that, and the whole Matthew Fitzpatrick thing is like, with how soft the pricing was, it was easy to make a quality build. Then with Matthew Fitzpatrick out, or Matt Fitzpatrick, whatever, the build process became a lot more unique and harder to do. A lot of people, if you just went down to Jason Kokrak, were able to get up to Adam Scott. That was huge. Paul Casey, Joaquin Niemann as well. So Joaquin Niemann, first round leader. We're back after last week where we didn't have the first round leader. That was like the first tournament in 2022 that we hadn't had that since we came out with our tool. He was the 9th most likely to have the first round lead, and he hit it. It's pretty cool. Nice to bounce back this week with that. That was pretty fun. He actually helped me in round 1 showdown. Had a top 5 finish in round 1 showdown. Sam Burns was the costly one there, but pretty awesome there for the round 1 showdown. So that being said, though, the round 2 showdown should be a decent as well, just because there's a lot of guys, like I already mentioned, like that were slightly better plays this week. And by that, I mean, maybe priced down a little bit too much, or, just a little bit safer, that did not do as well in round 2 as some of those risky plays. And I say that in quotes because I've said this a bunch of times already this week and whatnot. There's so many similar plays in each price point range that, it's very tough to rank them. So let's get into it. We'll show you guys who are the top picks in round 2 showdown. Give me a second here. Sorry. All right, let's go. So got round 2 showdown pulled up, and once again, the golfers are still finishing up, so the data is not fully complete yet. Okay, just want you guys to know that. So, so round 2 showdown, as it sits right now, we're still waiting on Patrick Cantlay news and whatnot. He's still finishing up on the data right now as I'm recording this, so we'll have to wait and see. I know he has birdied a hole since then, so we'll have to wait and see. I think he's going to be fine. But either way, he ranks out as the golfer most likely to have a good round in round 2. Like regression wise, he's the most likely to have a better round in round 2. I do want to show you guys a new feature here as well too. So let's get into it real quick. So I do have a new feature for you guys. That's the live stats. This updates at the end of the round. Kind of a fun tool. Okay, so a lot of people like to look at this. I think it's more trap thought for showdown purposes. But I can see where it'd be just nice to see why a player might be ranking out well. So we have the season stats, just how they do season long. You can just look at that if you want. And this is looking at like greens and regulation, like total driving, and just like putting, like just stuff on average, the basic golf stuff. Okay, like fairway hit percentage, greens and regulation, and then putt percentage. That's what we're looking at. Just trying to, don't really need the strokes gain data stats. Just trying to get kind of a baseline of maybe why someone's popping up decently in regression and whatnot. So we have that. Then we have the tournament stats, how they're ranking out. It's just nice to look at. It's just kind of accumulation or cumulative stat of kind of how they're doing in specific things and, kind of where they could improve possibly. Just another thing. It's just a fun thing to look at. Cameron Young too, by the way. Let's go. It's going to be, I think he's going to be 9-5's golfer of the month, with last week being like the top value. And then this week, besides Martin Laird and KH Lee, who are both doing decently well. Oh man, guys, the best lineups I have going right now are the ownership leverage lineups, which man, you guys should be entering those lineups. And because I think it's like 4 out of the past 6 weeks, those have been some of my better lineups. It's just ownership leverage builds. That's because it's a tool that's like telling you this guy's just undervalued, but he's still a good play. That's what that tool is designed to do. So it's been nice. But also the studs and duds build, because the obviously Cameron Young's going low. Martin Laird went low. KH Lee's doing decent. It's the studs. Like, once again, it's the safe plays that are screwing this week up. So hopefully those safe plays will bounce back, and I think that they will. But just it is a good lineup right now with some of the studs and duds, but it's a weird week. It's a weird week we got going. But yeah, this is the tournament stats. You can kind of just see how someone's doing tournament stat wise. Then you could just click on this one, stat regression. This is just kind of looking at, hey, who's most likely to have a better round with their stats and who's most likely to have a worse round with their stats. It's just combining that all together, and we can take a look at it that way. A lot of people like to look at putting rank too. You can look at that, see who's more likely to have a better round putting. If you want to, you can do that. That's perfectly fine. I know a lot of people are going to love to see Patrick Cantlay up there. Cameron Smith too as well. That's a little bit surprising. Let's kind of see why there with Cameron Smith. So what you could do as well is just putt improvement rank, putt season rank, whatever. You can kind of see why. So it's just something fun to look at as a whole. We can see how they putted on that day. So Cam Smith, in comparison to other people, didn't putt that well. Let's see who putted the best. Mackenzie Hughes. Yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't be ranking out that well. But it's just a fun stat to look at, guys. Yeah, let's just see who's most likely to improve putting. I already pulled that up. Colin Morikawa. Interesting. It's something, I know people wanted this. It's not that needed, but it's nice to look at. It's nice to know why someone is popping up. So just another fun thing to look at. And, greens and regulation you can look at. You could look at all of it. Ball striking improvement, GUR improvement, putting improvement. And I said improvement because I know some people got confused by regression. So I just kind of did that. But it's just a fun way to look at it as a whole. So it's just another avenue to look at it other than this blanket regression stat, which I love. It's pretty good. So I do think Patrick Cantlay will be number 1 or number 2 once the rounds are finalized, once we get all the data in there. But still, number 1 in regression. Then we got Patrick Reid. Patrick Reid's an interesting one. I could see him bouncing back. We'll see. +5, though. That is brutal. 7% on. It's kind of weird. People knew not to play Patrick Reid this week. Good for them. Good on them. Hideki's kind of fluttering there. I could see him having a much better round. Lanto Griffin, lots of interesting plays here, guys. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a crazy cut sweat. I think this is going to be the most intense cut sweat because right now, as it sits, as I'm recording this, there's 11% with 6 for 6 across the cut line, but there's a ton of high-owned players that could miss the cut. That could miss it. It's going to be crazy. Same thing here. Player cash sweat. Oh, it's going to be a crazy cut sweat. There's just so much high-owned players here that could potentially make or miss the cut, and it'll make for an interesting cut sweat tomorrow. So that'll be fun. But yeah, let's just get into the round 2 rankings right now, just real quick. And then we'll begin out of here. So Willie Z, no surprise. I know he's still finishing up, so we'll have to wait and see how accurate this will be, but he'll still probably be top 20, which overall that's what I'm looking to do. So that's how I did a decent one in round 1. I kind of just highlighted the top 25 players, round 1 ranking, and then put them in the 9-5 lineup optimizer and spit out a top 5 lineup. Actually, what sucks is I don't know if it would have helped or hurt, but I capped the player exposures to around 30%. And so Sam Burns got into a lot more lineups, which that might have helped me because it might have been Taylor Gooch instead of him then. I don't know, but the fact that he was the lowest scorer on that was, kind of unfortunate, but oh well, whatever. But yeah, no surprise. Xander kind of had a okay round in general. Wouldn't be surprising to see him go out and have a good round. Cameron Smith, he did play well, but he's someone that I would guess has a good round 2 scoring. So he's someone that could still go out and play well. I know you kind of want to be targeting a little bit of the morning wave, but all in all, it's not a big factor this week as much as it is in some other weeks because, well, it starts off cold, the greens start off a little bit firmer and faster, and then as the day goes on, it becomes warmer, but then the greens don't become as like true the longer the day goes on. So it's kind of hand in hand, goes hand in hand there. But Mark Leishman's someone that's, he played okay. Wouldn't be surprising to see him have like a -2, -3 round. And we know with a cut line being over par, you want to focus on those golfers that are going to finish under par. It's not going to kill you if you have a golfer that shoots -1. No, that's a good thing. And just real quick, last week, man, Hovland, what the heck? Had a good round 2 showdown going up until that, I think it was the 16th hole. Water ball into the water. Shot 1. Like, okay, that sucks. Get a par. I think it was like -2, -3 at the time. Takes a drop, hits another one to the water. He kind of had to at that point after his first one went into the water. It's like, man, one bad drive, one that cost him a missed cut, but it cost us a good round 2 showdown because we went from -3 on a scoring hole or -2, I forget what it was, to like +1 or even, or he finished like over par then. And that was bittersweet. It was like one swing cost him 3 strokes. And in a showdown, that's huge, especially for a guy that's, ranks out well. So I don't think we have to worry about that at all really this week because, well, they're all golfers that play decently well that are still popping up, still expected to do well. But one thing I want to point out, guys, a lot of these guys are high-name guys, which is nice to see. You got Jon Rahm in there. You got Kyle Morikawa in there. Cam Smith, like I said. Xander Schauffele, Sam Burns. Cameron Tringale, a little bit shocking there. Scotty Scheffler, Siwoo Kim, Jason Kokrak, Luke List. That's an interesting one. And I do think that once Patrick Cantlay finishes his round, he'd be like top 10 in there. But a lot of interesting names in here that I'm excited to see kind of what they can do. I'll show you guys here real quick. Win rank. Take it with a grain of salt because, once again, we're not done yet. This data builds off of everyone that's finished. But as it sits right now, shockingly a little bit, and I think we still have to have Joaquin Niemann finish, so we'll wait and see. I would imagine he'd be top 5 in here, okay? Once again, I'm recording this before round 2 is done, but without him in there, it'd be JT, Kyle Morikawa, Cam Smith, who Kyle Morikawa I did add live on the Discord chat after his like 4th hole because I was so close to, including him. And I'll be so pissed if Cameron Young wins because the 2 players I kind of wanted to add to the betting card, but I already had like 7 players in there, were Kyle Morikawa and Cameron Young. Cameron Young because we already did that once. FOMO, I was kind of thinking it. And then Kyle Morikawa just because really strong staff and like the only pause that you had with him compared to some of the other players in that price range was not as good finishes on the course, which was kind of strange. Like he should be able to play well. So it's not shocking that he is playing well because he was like a top 5 staff. Had really no reason for him to have a bad round except for that weird, strange course history. And that kind of goes back to the point that I was putting out there that, the guys that maybe weren't expected to do as well than some of the safer plays are doing well. And the safe plays are kind of struggling. It's very interesting week. And to see that like drastic spread is kind of crazy to me. And that tells me that, round 2 should be a good round 2. But yeah, most likely to win Scotty Scheffler too. Scotty Scheffler, very interesting. So his ownership this week was like half of what it was last week. And I get it. He's coming off of a win. But he was the exact same play this week as he was last week. So it's kind of strange. And I know it's because he's coming off of the win. It makes sense. Just kind of interesting that it dropped that much, being the exact same play as he was last week. Good to see him playing well, though, too. I mean, it's going to be a fun one here. Adam Scott popping up there as well. But once again, got to wait until the date is full. Just want to get this out to you guys before it's too late because right now it's starting to get late. By the time I upload it, it's going to be even later. So let's just recap here real quick, and then we'll be getting out of here. So golfers that are most likely to play well. Let's get into it real quick. Patrick Cantlay, as it sits right now, Patrick Reid, Hideki Matsuyama, Lanto Griffin, Mackenzie Hughes, Victor Hovland, Sungjae Im, Russell Henley, Corey Connors, DJ, Luke List, Taylor Gooch all the way down there. Freaking Taylor Gooch. That still makes me mad. What are you doing? All right. The rankings, once again, this little update. Rankings just real quick. Willie Z, Xander, Cameron Smith, Mark Leishman, Kyle Morikawa, Jon Rahm, Sungjae Im, popping up there again. Sam Burns, Cameron Tringale. Once again, it's always nice to see a guy popping up in both round regression and round ranking because that tells you that he's more likely to have a good round. Just, good to look at. And then just going back to the live stats, just based off of, normal, just fairways hit, greens hit, putting, who's most likely to play better, just looking at that. Victor Hovland, Sam Burns, Patrick Cantlay, Jon Rahm, Hideki, you know, pretty good stuff there. So you guys can all kind of use this data to make a build for you guys in Showdown Round 2. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I know it's kind of a lot of stuff, a little bit more fluff in here than I typically would like to have, and I do apologize for that, but kind of just a fun video. But that's all I have for you guys for this one. It's gonna be a cut sweat, and I hope it goes your guys' way. It's gonna be an interesting one. We'll see. It could be a bad week. It could be an official bad week for myself, but kind of saved it with that round 1 showdown. Fingers crossed I can do that with round 2 showdown as well. We'll see though. There's a lot of golfers +1, +2 right now that could easily, you know, shoot -2, -1, make the cut. Cut is typically over par, so, you know, not too worried about it with some of the better golfers that might have struggled in round 1. They'll probably shoot under par. You know, that's typically what happens. So we'll wait and see though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. And as always, let's keep cashing.